to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everybody, you are listening to episode 154, How to Beat an Internal Candidate for the Job. Hi everyone, welcome back, or welcome for the first time. I'm Lorraine Rise, your career coach and host. Go to careeruprising.com, learn more about what we do, how we help mid and late career professionals to advance their careers and find more satisfaction in their jobs and in life. So thank you for being here. I'm feeling amazing. Feeling good, guys. I hope you are too. I hope you're having a good month, a good year. I'm so happy that you are going to share a couple minutes of your time with me. I feel honored. I feel just blessed in life. I really do. I'm just feeling good, and I just want to tell you that. I think it's good to just spread positivity, you know? All right. So picture this. You're job searching, applying and applying. And finally, you get a call back for an interview for a job you really want. You're totally qualified. You're excited. And you prepare, and you kill it in the interview. You do so good, maybe several interviews. And you're really hopeful that you're going to get an offer. And then they come back and say that they have filled the role internally. Now you're crushed. Now you're pissed. What'd you do wrong? Can you honestly even compete with somebody already at the company? Sometimes you can, actually. And that's what today's show is about. So this is a very specific topic. It's going to be a short and sweet episode. We're going to cut right to it. But I have had questions about this in the past and seen a lot of people posting on LinkedIn about how crushed they are that they were interviewing for a job and they just went with somebody internally after all. So let's talk about this issue a little bit and what you can do. So competing with an internal candidate is tough, and it happens all the time. All right, let's just be honest. An internal candidate does have a few things that you don't. They have knowledge of the company and their goals and their culture, their processes. They have established relationships with stakeholders and the hiring manager specifically. On the other hand, you, the external candidate, do bring a fresh perspective and ideas that could help them perform better. So what can you do if you really want this job and you're going up against somebody inside? How can you perform your best and potentially beat that internal candidate? Well, I have a few ideas. Number one, I want you to first ask them in the interview process if they are interviewing any internal candidates. And you can ask that. It's okay. You're just asking out of curiosity. You know, it's not going to change a whole lot in the process for you. You can't do anything about the fact that they are. But sometimes it's just nice to know what you're up against. And if they say yes, it's not a bad sign. In fact, it's kind of a good sign in a way, because you do want to work for a company that's going to promote people internally. So I think it's okay to ask just out of curiosity and help you at least manage your expectations if it turns out that you don't get the job. And maybe it's for that reason, maybe it's not. But I think it's just good to know what you're dealing with, right? So it could sound something like this. I'm curious how many people are interviewing for this role and if there's any internal candidates that you're considering as well. Simple, diplomatic question, not pushy. It's totally fine. Okay. So that is step one. Just find out if that is even the case. And I would do it, kind of early in the process, maybe first or second round interview. Second, as an external candidate, you need to do your research. Because you are not an insider, you're really going to have to rely on your research of the company. Make sure you know their customers, their competitors, their pain points, their culture as best you can, and so on. If you can network and talk to people who work there, all the better. But gather as much information as you can so that you can perform well in the interview and ask thoughtful, intelligent questions so that you get your questions answered and can determine if it's a good fit. And it'll just help you to appear more competitive if you're well-informed, certainly. So it's going to be helpful also for you to know what skills and what accomplishments of yours that you might want to emphasize based on the company's needs. So, research, of course, is something that you should be doing anyway. We always encourage clients to do this before they interview with a company, but it is even more important in a situation like this where you might be coming in at a slight disadvantage anyway. Knowledge is power, as they say. Definitely. Okay. The third thing is I want you to focus on your value and what you bring as an external candidate. And you do have an advantage here. You have an angle. Do you bring knowledge maybe about their competitors? Do you have fresh ideas that maybe somebody who is more entrenched within the company wouldn't have? Or connections, maybe? Be thinking of what you can bring as an outside candidate and make sure to focus on that. So again, it could sound like this. I'm glad to hear that you are considering internal candidates. It's good to know that companies like yours are willing to promote people internally. Although I'm an outside candidate, I do think that there are some areas where I could really bring some value to this role. In particular, my time at blank. And then fill in an example of some relevant experience from another company that you worked at, okay? So hand it to them on a silver platter. Put it up there. Hey, listen, I know I'm not an inside candidate. I'm coming from the outside, but that actually could be a good thing. And here's where I think that I could offer your company some value based on where I've worked before and what I've done. I mean, again, we're not reinventing the wheel here. This is just basic stuff for all interview prep, but it's just kind of a specific angle that we're taking, knowing that we are competing with somebody who is already inside the company. And then I think my last tip for this is going to be focus on connections. So this is why networking is so important, and people like me bang you over the head with this message. If you know anyone at this company, this is where that relationship is going to be really valuable. The best strategy, of course, is to have somebody refer you. Because when you can get referred from a job, you are a little bit of an insider then, right? It makes you less risky and less unknown to them. It kind of, greases things for you a little bit. So then you're coming in with a little bit more of an advantage. This is very powerful. So obviously that is the ideal scenario. But if you know someone maybe even who used to work there, get their permission. Maybe you could mention it, right? Mention some common connections or somebody that you know that used to work there, assuming they left amicably. That's why you want to talk to that person first. But, it could sound maybe something like this. I'm a good friend of John Smith, who worked here 2 years ago, and he said really great things about the company. He also felt that I'd be a great fit for the culture and encouraged me to apply. That's just an example of what it could sound like, but, just use your discretion and talk to people first, who have worked there and get their insights about the company and what would be a good angle to take and whether or not you can mention them, that kind of thing. But anything that, is a common connection or area of an interest or area of commonality, a common interest, is going to help you. You are going to want to focus on that so you look like you have a little bit more of a connection to the company and you're a little bit less risky. But the bottom line here is it's kind of a weird situation. On one hand, we want companies to promote people internally. That's a good thing when it's you who's on the receiving end of that. But when you're the external candidate, I know it's frustrating and challenging, especially if you've been put through multiple rounds of interviews. So you can't do a whole lot about your competition, but you can come at it with prepared with your value and why you as an external candidate might have the right connections or the right experience. Don't assume, for example, that just because somebody's an internal candidate that they're more competitive or more qualified than you. That is definitely not true. You may be more qualified. You may have more experience or more aligned experience. And you may or may not cost as much as that. There's so many things you don't know that I think you need to go for it. I think you just need to push through and really focus on your specific value and accomplishments, okay? I hope that helps. This one was kind of short and sweet. It was a really specific topic, but I've been wanting to kind of crank this one out for a while because I've had questions about it. So I hope that was helpful. I am so excited about the March shows because this is coming out at the end of February. You guys, I'm turning 40. And it's a big deal for me. I'm excited. So I'm going to do kind of a lessons learned, at the end of March show. So I hope that you will listen. There's some really, really good shows coming in the next couple of weeks. All right. So I will be back soon. I hope this was helpful. Learn more about what we do at careeruprising.com. And you can find the archive of the show there at careeruprising.com/podcast and go back and find any of my 150 plus episodes. All right. Take care, guys.
That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by inflowradio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.